Welcome to the Empowered Christian Woman Podcast. My name is Jeanette Cochran. I'm a pastor, women's leadership coach, and self-proclaimed Jesus feminist. I'm on a mission to inspire and equip women everywhere to own our voice, speak up, create, and lead wherever God calls. Because when women rise, everyone wins. Hey friend, welcome to the podcast. If you're a growth-minded Christian woman leader who's ready to break free from limiting narratives and step boldly into your God-given calling, then you are in the right place. And I am honored that you pushed play today and are diving in with me in this next episode where we're going to talk about goals. So if you're like me and many other women leaders, you probably started the year with high hopes, maybe even a fresh planner, color-coded and ready to go. You had vision, you had passion, you had goals. But as I'm recording this, it's only a few days away from June. We are already halfway through the year. Can you believe it? Where has this year gone? And if you are someone who's been making steady progress on your goals, let me be the first to tell you, congratulations. You are rare, truly. Most people fall off of their goals by February or March. So if you set some 2025 goals and you are still in the game, then I celebrate you and you need to celebrate yourself. But if you're listening and you're thinking, wait, what were my goals again? I know I set some, but I can't remember what they are. Or maybe you remember what they are, but you're just feeling stuck, stalled, or you set those goals in your journal. They're sitting on a shelf somewhere collecting dust. If that's you, first of all, I want to say, please do not fall into a shame spiral. You are totally normal. Seriously. This happens to the vast majority of people. The vast majority of people lose momentum and they fall off the wagon when it comes to their goals. And here's the thing. It's not because you're lazy or you're broken or you just lack self-discipline. It's none of those things. It's because the way that we have been taught to set goals is flawed. So in today's episode, I want to share with you 5 reasons that you aren't making progress on your goals and how you can get back on track. Whether you've been showing up for your goals and you just want to build some more momentum and keep going, or if you feel like you've completely fallen off track, this episode is for you. So let's jump in. 5 reasons that you are not making progress on your goals and what you can do about it. Well, reason number 1, there's no sense of urgency. Here's the truth. 12-month goals are too long. Traditionally, we've been taught to set annual goals. We set these big, beautiful visions every January, and we say by year end, here's what I want to accomplish. We give ourselves a whole 12 months and we think we have time. And that lack of urgency actually kills our momentum. It tricks our brains into thinking we have plenty of time. And then February rolls around and we're behind a little and we say, it's fine. I've got a whole year. And then March turns into April. And before we know it, it's June. It's summer. And we haven't made the progress that we need to or that we have hoped for. And then what happens is we're tempted to give up because we have lost momentum. We're not where we wanted to be. And so we think, well, this year is shot, and we just give up. And then the cycle continues again next January. Or worse, we stop dreaming altogether. But here's what I want you to hear. It's not that you're lazy. It's not that you're broken. You don't need more motivation. You just need a better strategy. To create urgency, we have to shift from 12-month goals to 12-week goals. This is a concept that I instituted a few years ago, and I first learned about this in a book called The 12-Week Year by Brian Moran and Michael Lennington. It's a great book that I recommend, by the way. And they suggest that instead of the traditional annual planning, which tends to foster procrastination because you think you have so much time, they say you treat 12 weeks like a year. So think about it. Every 12 weeks, you get a fresh start. Every 12 weeks, you can make measurable progress on a new goal. And this short window, it creates urgency, clarity, and energy. So you'll stop thinking, well, I'll do it later, because later is only a few weeks away. And so what happens is it helps you to get laser focused on what actually matters. So if you have lost a sense of urgency and have not been making progress on your goals, what I want you to do is just ask yourself, what could I realistically and meaningfully accomplish in the next 12 weeks? And just say, that's my new year. That's my new start. See, this is the good news. You never need to wait until January again. All you need is another 12 weeks and you can start over and create a sense of urgency. Where could you get in your goal in the next 12 weeks? What goal could you accomplish in 3 months? Reason number 2 that you might not be making progress on your goals is that you've lost sight of your why. When we first set goals, we are usually full of energy and vision, especially at the new year, because January and the new year gives this sense of a new beginning and a fresh start. And so all of that energy and passion is there when we set our goals. But over time, that fades. And so what we've got to do is we've got to stay connected to the why of our goals. Proverbs 16:3 says, "Commit your actions to the Lord and your plans will succeed." Have you looked at your goals through the lens of the calling that God has given you? Are your goals actions that you have committed to the Lord? So ask yourself, how is this goal rooted either in your commitment to Christ or to what God has called you to do and to become? Because if our goals aren't rooted in something deeper, something connected to who we want to become, then they start to just feel like an endless list of to-dos and tasks instead of deeply rooted in our calling and our purpose. Every goal must be rooted in your life vision. Because if your goals aren't moving you toward the person that you long to be or helping you to create the life and make the contribution that God has called you to make, then they will lose their power. And the reality is, then why would you even need them? Why would you want to accomplish a goal that's not going to make you a better person, create the life that you're called to lead, or make the contribution that God has called you to make in the world? The most powerful goals are the ones that align our personal aspirations with our professional or ministry goals. But here's where so many people go wrong. Oftentimes, we have separate goals, like we have career goals or ministry goals, and then we might have some relationship goals and some health goals. And yes, I definitely encourage everyone to look at all the areas of your life and consider setting goals in those areas. But every goal that you have needs to be integrated back into your life vision. So let me give you a couple of examples of how this works in my own life. One of my goals over the next 12 weeks is to produce a podcast episode every week. I want to get on a regular schedule, getting something out every 7 days. This is a business goal. It's part of my strategy to empower and invest in women leaders. But it's not just about consistency or content creation. It's not just about growing my coaching practice. My goal is actually rooted in my leadership purpose, in the vision that God has given me for this season of my life, which is to challenge the status quo, motivate change, and unleash possibility to create a kinder, more equitable world for all people through the empowerment of women. That's my why. The reason I want to do a podcast episode every week is so I can challenge the status quo, so that I can motivate you to change and grow, so that I can help you discover and unleash the possibility in your life, my dear sister. Because I know that when women step out in the visions and the dreams and the goals that God has given them, it always leads to a kinder world, a more loving world, or a more equitable world. And so I want to empower as many women as possible. And that's why this podcast matters. You see how that goal is connected to a much bigger vision. And so when I get up and I see on my to-do list that it's time to record another podcast episode, and I'm not quite sure I want to do it, I remind myself why it matters, and it helps me to keep going. So another example here, I also have a health goal to get at least 7 hours of sleep each night. At Christmas, I got an Aura ring and I love it. I wear it religiously all the time, except when I'm showering. That's when I charge it. But other than that, it is always on my finger so that I can track my health metrics. And I have every day been checking to make sure I'm getting 7 hours of sleep and making adjustments where I need to. And this goal is not just about wellness for me. When I think about why is it important for me to get to bed on time and allow myself to get enough sleep, it's about being alert and energized so that I can show up fully for the people that I lead and the mission that I've been entrusted with. It's also about making sure that I am here and healthy for decades to come. And as a breast cancer survivor, I know how important sleep is for alleviating stress, for regulating our metabolism, and for just helping to boost our immune system. And so when I think about my sleep, it's not just a checkbox. My sleep is about my life. It's about wholeness and wellness and showing up for everything God has created me for. You see how that why really connects in and makes just what could just be a checklist goal, it makes it super important, and it helps to connect me with my deeper purpose and contribution that God has for me here in the world. So, whether your goal is around health or finances or ministry or business, ask yourself, how does this goal move me toward the life I want to create? How does this goal serve the contribution that God is calling me to make in the world? Even if your current goal is just a career goal that is necessary to keep your job and your job is simply a means to fund your life, friends, that still matters at a deeper level, right? Because you could ask yourself, okay, I need to accomplish this career goal so that I can actually bring home a paycheck. What does that income enable for you? Who does that income that you bring home bless? What kind of a life does it make possible? And so root that goal in the income that you're making and how that income is leading toward the vision of the life that God has given you. Your goals, my friend, should not just be a checkbox. They need to be a part of your calling. So integrate them into your life vision and they will come alive with meaning. Okay, let's keep moving on. So, reason number 3 that you aren't making progress on your goals might be that you don't have a system for taking consistent action. You don't have a system for taking consistent action. So, let's be honest. We don't rise to the level of our good intentions. We rise to the level of our structure and our systems. If you've set a goal but you haven't broken it down into small, consistent actions, then of course you feel stuck. It feels too big. You're not quite sure how you're going to get there. Your brain is confused. And when your brain is confused, it's going to procrastinate. It's going to put it off. It's going to say, let's wait until tomorrow. It's not that you don't care. It may not be even that your goal isn't rooted in your why. It might just be that you need to create a system that supports follow through so that you can take the actions that you know you need to take every day and every week to move in the direction of your goal. So here's what you need to do. Make a plan. Keep it simple. Take out a piece of paper, break your goal down into small, measurable action steps. Do a brain dump. What is everything that you would have to do to accomplish this goal? And then figure out when you're going to take those actions. And don't just put those actions on your to-do list. This is super important. Pull out your calendar and say, what action will I take when? And write it on your calendar. Schedule the time. Protect the time like it matters, like it's an important appointment with yourself, because my friend, it is. And then the other thing that you can do to help you create a system for consistent action is use a habit tracker. One of the most effective tools that I recommend, that I use and I recommend to some of my clients, is a habit tracker. It's a simple grid or a checklist where you mark off once you have accomplished your daily or weekly habits that are tied to your goals. So, for example, did you drink your water today? If so, just simply check it off. Did you write for 30 minutes, if that's your goal? Check it off. Did you move your body today? Did you do your 30 minutes of cardio? A habit tracker may seem small and insignificant, but it's actually rooted in brain science, and it's a significant way to help us accomplish our goals because it engages the dopamine system, which in our brain is our reward center. Every time you check off a box or mark your progress, your brain releases a hit of dopamine. It's a feel-good chemical in your brain that says, yes, progress. And believe it or not, that tiny little reward reinforces the behavior, and it makes it more likely that you will do it again. Every small win keeps you emotionally and neurologically engaged and connected to your goal because your brain loves progress. And so just checking off that you did it signals progress to your brain. The second thing that the habit tracker does is it provides visible proof of progress. I love this one. Most people don't quit because they're lazy. They quit because they don't see progress. But when you keep a habit tracker, you can actually see with your eyes proof that you're showing up. You can look back and say, wow, I've done this for 5 days in a row. And that builds momentum and belief in yourself. Peter Drucker says, what gets measured gets managed. And so your habit tracker is a way of just measuring very small every day. Did you take the action so that you will continue to manage your brain and manage the actions that are necessary? The third thing that a habit tracker does, which has been super helpful for me, is it interrupts the all or nothing mindset. You know, that voice that says, well, I missed a day, and so I've already failed. Or that voice that says, even, I missed 3 days, so I've already failed. Well, a habit tracker can quiet that voice because when you look at the habit tracker and you say, okay, yeah, the last 3 days I missed, but I had been on a 2-week streak. Look at the 14 days that I did it. And then you can say, okay, I missed 3 days, but I'm still on track and I can still keep going. So it helps you to build a resilience mindset. It helps you to bounce back instead of just breaking down and giving up altogether. You need to create a system that helps you to take consistent action. And that means define small, repeatable actions, put them on your calendar, track them daily or weekly in a habit tracker, and then let your tracker become that quiet accountability partner. And remember, you don't need a perfect plan. You just need a system, something small that can support consistency. Reason number 4 that you may not be making progress on your goals is you're waiting until you feel like it. Let me say this really clearly for all of us. We won't always feel like it, and that's okay. Nothing is wrong with you. You are completely normal. So many of us get stuck right here. We start the year off and we have lots of momentum and we're excited and we're feeling like pursuing the goal. And then we get to this place where we just don't have the motivation anymore. And we start waiting for the mood and that surge of motivation to begin to act again. But here's the truth. You don't need motivation to take action on your goal. Did you know that? In fact, motivation probably won't come until you start taking action. So action comes first. What you need in place of motivation is commitment. And you accomplish lots of things every day, every week, not because you're motivated, but because you're committed. How many times have you gotten up and thought, I really don't feel like going into my office today? But you go anyway because you're committed to the work that you're called to. You're committed to showing up for your job. How many times have you said to yourself, I don't feel like cooking dinner tonight? But then somehow you find your way into the kitchen, preparing a healthy meal because you're committed to making sure that your family and your kids eat healthy every night, or most nights, I should say. So, for example, in my life, I am a grandmother of two incredible granddaughters, and 1 or 2 days a week, I wake up early, really early, to be honest. It's the only days that I actually set my alarm because I need to get to my son's house by 7 a.m. to help get my granddaughters off to school. Now, listen, I some days do not want to get out of bed when that alarm goes off, but I never let I don't feel like it decide what I'm going to do when it's time to get up to go and take care of my granddaughters. Why? Because I'm committed. I'm committed to supporting my son and my daughter-in-law. I love my granddaughters and I want to be present in their lives. How I feel doesn't rule that decision. My commitment does. And that's how we need to approach our goals. Here's something really important for you to consider. Your brain is wired to seek pleasure, avoid pain, and conserve energy. So anytime you need to step out of your comfort zone, anytime you need to do something you haven't done before or something that's going to require you to exert energy, there's a good chance your brain is going to tell you, we don't feel like doing that today. There's going to be some resistance. So expect the resistance. Put the action on your calendar and expect that when you sit down to do that task, or when you are ready to maybe to head out the door to go to the gym, expect resistance. Expect your brain to say, it's too hard. Let's just sit down and check email one more time. Let's do it tomorrow. Right? Those are the kinds of things that happen and we procrastinate. But here is the good news. You are in charge of your brain. You can be the boss of your brain. Did you know this? You can say to yourself, I don't feel like doing this. Yes, it's going to take energy, but I made a commitment to myself and I'm going to do it anyway, even though I don't feel like it. Expect the resistance and do it anyway. I know that you show up for everyone else in your life. Now it's time for you to show up for yourself and for your goals. And then reason number 5 that you may not be making progress on your goals might be that you've just set too many goals. So let's talk about focus. One of the reasons that people get stuck or they stop making progress is because they're trying to do too much at once. When everything is a priority, my friend, then nothing is really a priority. Too many goals splits your energy, your time, and your attention. It's like trying to water 10 plants with just 1 cup of water. Nothing thrives. Everything gets a little, but not enough to grow. This is where you need to pause and reassess. Jesus said in Luke 14:28, he says, which of you, desiring to build a tower, does not first sit down and count the cost, whether he has enough to complete it, right? See, Jesus says, yeah, we need to actually take a look at what it's going to take. We need to assess what it's going to require in order to accomplish the goal that we've set out to do. And if we have dispersed our energy and our focus too broadly, then we need to sit down and reassess. So ask yourself, which of my goals are most important right now? Which ones align most fully with the person I want to become and the contribution that I feel called to make in this season? And then ask yourself, am I still committed to this goal? Or is this a goal that really I'm just kind of interested in? That's an important key as you reassess your goals, because there is a difference. When we're interested in something, we work on it when it's convenient. But when we're committed, we do it whether we feel like it or not. We make room for it and we show up for it. And it's totally okay to just be interested in something. That doesn't mean you failed. It just means you've gained clarity. So be honest with yourself. The goals that you've set, are they goals that you really are still committed to? Or are some of them goals that you would say, you know what, I'm not sure I'm totally committed to this goal, but I am still interested in it. If you're interested in it, great. Now you've got clarity. Put that on what I like to call a someday list and set it aside. And choose one or two goals that you are really committed to. One or two goals that you know align with the vision that God has given you. Get brutally honest and only choose one or two goals max that you are ready to pick back up and go all in on. Reconnect to the vision behind them and why they matter to you and how they move you toward the person that you want to be. And put the rest of those goals, if you've got too many, on your someday list. And realize you're not quitting, you're just refocusing. That's wisdom. You're choosing what matters most, and you're giving it the full weight of your commitment. Remember, when we narrow our focus, it doesn't shrink our impact, my friend. It actually multiplies it. So, as we bring this to an end, some final thoughts. If you've been feeling stuck or stalled, or you have drifted completely off course from your goals, this is your moment to reset. This is the mid-year reset, and it's not too late, my friend. I love how the scripture in Galatians, Paul reminds us, he says, let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time, we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. My friends, figure out in this halfway point through the year, what goals you need to reset. What are the goals that God has given you that are going to bring good into the world, that are going to bring good to your life? What goals has God given you so that you can reap a harvest of good fruit in this year? Don't give up on those goals. Stay the course. If you have been making steady progress on your goals, congratulations. Keep it up. Maybe one of these strategies will help you to gain more momentum and stay the course for the second half of the year. And if you have fallen off track, get back on track. Choose one or two goals for the next 12 weeks, not 12 months, not the next 6 months. Just set 1 to 2 goals for the next 12 weeks. Reconnect with your why. Make a simple plan with daily or weekly actions and use a habit tracker. Try it out. See if it helps you stay connected and successful. Expect some resistance, and when it comes, take charge of your brain. Do it even when you don't feel like it. Do it because you're committed to it, not because you feel like it. And then let go of everything else that doesn't align with this season. Only choose your 1 or 2 most important goals. My friend, you don't need more time. You don't need to abandon your goals and wait until next January rolls around again. You need a fresh start, and that fresh start can happen today or any day that you decide. And if you would like some help with this, if you'd like some help getting back on track with your goals, maybe you're not quite sure which 12-week goals are most important, and you're not quite sure how to build a strategy. You want to get clear on what actually matters. I would love to support you in that. Every week, I offer a handful of free leadership growth coaching sessions so that I can help women make progress, and it's completely free. It's a gift to you. I do this for a couple of reasons. It helps me to connect with those that I am serving, and it helps me to support you in one quick small win. It's a no pressure call to help you clarify, reset, and move forward with confidence. At the end of the call, if you decide that you want more help from me, I'll be glad to let you know how you can work with me to get more help. But if you don't want more help, that's no problem. If the one call gets you unstuck and moving in the right direction, that's amazing. And I will be so glad to help you with that. So if that sounds interesting to you, I want to encourage you to head over to my website, JeanetteCochran.com, and look for the leadership growth call. I will also put a link to that in the show notes. Again, I only set aside a handful of those calls every week. So if that's something that you want, get on my website, head over there and book your call right away so you can get on my calendar. And then keep making progress on your goals, my friend. You were made to lead with purpose. Pick up those goals, keep going, and until next time, keep rising to your full potential, because we know when women rise, everyone wins. Thanks for joining me for this episode of the Empowered Christian Woman Podcast. If you enjoyed the show, please subscribe and share it with other women in your network. For more information about me and the work that I do, check out JeanetteCochran.com. And I'd love to hear from you personally. Come join the conversation on social. You can find me on Facebook at J. Cochran Coach or Instagram at Jeanette.Cochran.